لا تنسى نصيبك من الدنيا. But if you do take care of your portion, if you are able to stand up for your rights, if you are able to stand up for your dignity, if you're able to do that, and if you can do that, then the next portion of the advice comes, which is وأحسن كما أحسن الله إليك. It's such powerful advice. He says, do your very best and do beautifully. One of the ways to translate أحسن is do beautifully. The way Allah did beautifully towards you. Do your very best like Allah did His best towards you. What in the world does that mean? That means that you develop a positive attitude. First, in simple terms, you are constantly thinking about the gifts that Allah has given you. I'm thinking about the opportunities that Allah has given me, the chance that Allah has given me, the health that Allah has given me, the strength that He's given me, the mind that He's given me, the money that He's given me, the opportunity and the society in which I'm living, the times in which He decided that I should be born. You know, some people say silly things like, I feel like I was born for a different era and I'm living in the wrong. No, Allah is pretty sure you belong in this era. You can feel like it because you've been watching a lot of old TV shows and you feel like you belong in the 12th century, but maybe you should stop watching TV and live in this era because Allah created you for this time and you should be grateful for the time and the environment and the situation you live in. Maybe you're surrounded by darkness and you say, why am I surrounded by darkness? Why am I in such a bad environment? Maybe because you were supposed to be the light that came in that environment. Maybe you were put in darkness because you're supposed to be that light. After all, a believer is called a lamp. And a lamp is only beneficial at nighttime when there's darkness. You know, the believer's heart is called a lamp, right? And so maybe there's a reason you're in this situation. Because you're supposed to be a sort of good, a source of good. First you take care of yourself, then you start doing good to all around. Imam Fakhruddin al-Razi, when talking about this ayah, said, Allah did not just limit doing good as in charity. Do good with your tongue. Say the best things to people. Think about how you talk to people. Think about the tone you're going to take. Avoid sarcasm. Say beautiful things, not ugly things. Don't mock people. Don't look at people with ugly faces. Don't scoff at people. Don't talk behind people's back. When people see you, they have beautiful thoughts. They have a beautiful experience even if they saw you for 2 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. Nobody's miserable because of you. You're not a source of misery. You're a source of joy. And why are you a source of joy? For yourself and others, because Allah has been good to you. كما أحسن الله إليك. As if Allah is telling us, we have to become better human beings in everything that we do. You're the best at your work, you're the best in your studies, you're the best in the way you carry yourself, you're the best in the choice of words you use, you're the best at controlling your temper, you're doing the best on every single front. Why? Because you keep thinking, Allah's been pretty good to me. Allah's taken quite a bit of care of me. What does shaitan want you to do? Shaitan wants you to think about all your problems and blame them on Allah. Why did Allah do this to me? Why is my brother taller than I am? Why is this happening to me? Why did that happen to me? I can't forget that one time somebody said this one thing. Yep, that happened. But all the good that's happened in between, He wants you to be blind to. Allah wants you to think about how Allah is good to you. أحسن كما أحسن الله إليك. And Allah is still good to you. No matter how hard your life and my life is, there's someone who has it much harder. And I've seen people that have a much harder life and they are happy. They are happy because they recognize Allah is good to them. I'm reminded that still, the image is imprinted in my mind. I was in Chiapas in Mexico and I was in a village. The whole village had become Muslim. The entire village took Shahada. And it took after a flight from Mexico City, it was about a 2-hour drive on a road that's not a road. So the car was like this for 2 hours. And then we get to this village. And this village, everybody became Muslim. Subhanallah. And so and those people don't even speak Spanish. So they have their own language, and they had to have an interpreter. What I was saying was in English, then the interpreter was translating into Spanish, and then another interpreter was translating it into their language. That's how I would be able to speak to them. And some of these people, they invited me into their home, and I want you to just think about what I saw. They invite me into their home. Their home was, have you seen like in Home Depot out here, or some of these backyards, they have those sheds? Their home was the size of a shed. Maybe 8 foot by 8 foot, that is their house. And the outside of it is literally planks of wood of different sizes that they gathered. That's the walls of the house. The roof of the house was tin foil. The floor of the house was dirt. It was dirt. The kitchen was a propane tank. That's all it was, a propane tank. And they twist it and a fire comes out and they cook on top of that. There's no stove. The tank is the stove. And he's giving me a tour of his house. And he's so happy. And he says, this is where we sit, and this, and he moves some curtains, and behind it is a bunch of newspapers on the wall. And this is where my children sleep. How many children do you have? I have 3 children. This is about maybe 2/3 the size of a single bed. And this is where my 3 children sleep. And then he moves the curtain again, and this is where I sleep. And he's happy. And his kid runs in, one of them has pants on and no shirt, the other one has a shirt and no pants. Because that's all the clothes they have. But they looked happy. Man, did they look happy. And then you come back, and then you see kids, and you go into their room, and you cannot step 2 steps without stepping on a toy, or books flying around, or I don't want to do my homework, or what's for lunch? Oh God, do we have this? We only have orange juice? I want apple juice. We have those kids, and they're miserable. They're all, and then can I go to the party on the weekend? No, you can't. You never let me do anything. I have the worst life. This is أحسن كما أحسن الله إليك. Those people can see that Allah is good to them. And Allah has given us more, many of us more, than most people will dream of. And miserable. Miserable. He says, وَأَحْسِن كَمَا أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ. Be good to people, be good to others, take care of yourself, take care of your needs, but become one who cares for others. And that should be inspired by how Allah has been good to you and to me.